Yes, people. Welcome to the Unspoken Gems podcast. For your mum, for your dad, for your sister, for your brother, for your cousin. We do not discriminate. My name is Kio Apaloo, and to my left, I've got my co-host.
Yo, what's happening? Myself, Drizz.
And today, we've got another special guest. On my left, to my left, is Maria. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good.
Excellent,
I'm feeling good. The weather's nice.
Yes,
And that makes me like that makes me really happy.
Let's hope it stays like that. So, how was your journey down here today?
It was good. I drove, so I don't live in London. I live out of London. So,
Okay.
yeah, we had a little car thing with my friends. So we just came over, listened to some tunes. So it's fine. Yeah.
Excellent. So, Maria, get a bit about your background. So, where are you from? Have any siblings and stuff like that? But let's just go with where you're from. What country are you from first?
So I am fully Greek.
Okay.
Both my parents are Greek. Speak Greek at home. I'm very patriotic. So people are like, "Whoa, you're Greek? You've never mentioned it." So I love to mention it to people. Both my parents are Greek, so my culture is like that. But I've been born and brought up in this country, so nationality is British.
So when's the last time you've been back to Greece? Have you been to Greece recently? Or?
Yeah, I go like maybe 2-3 times a year. I try and go as often as I can. So last time I went was last summer, and then before that I went twice in the summer. So yeah, I try and go as often as I can just because my whole family's there. So it's just nice to just go and relive the summer life. Yeah.
So I guess you get better weather there because weather's not that good here, like you were saying.
You know, you get better weather, but it actually snows a lot more in Greece than it does it. Yeah. So in the winter it's cold and summer it's hot.
Wow.
So at least you get the best of both worlds, I think.
That's good. So yeah, sibling wise, do you have any siblings, Maria?
Yeah, I have a younger sister. She is 21. So she's younger, but she's actually not. I feel like in my head she's like a little baby, but yeah, she's 21 and we really get on. We didn't get on at first. We sister rivalry and all stuff. But now that since I moved out originally to go to uni, that kind of like we clicked again, and now she's at uni. So
I guess sometimes that space helps when you're kind of
100%. Yeah,
it's like you just get that rivalry anyway.
And I think the older we get, the more like interests we have in common. So we're into the same things, which is good. So yeah, no, she's like my little bestie.
Excellent. So we want to get a bit about yourself, Maria, and what you actually do. I know you do a little bit of modelling, well, quite a lot of modelling from what's on your Instagram. So how long have you been doing that for now?
So I originally got signed during lockdown.
Wow.
So my background's musical theatre, so that's what I studied. So I just feel like performing, I class modelling as performing because like you're on a stage in a way. So I liked taking pictures, I like having my picture taken, that kind of thing. So during lockdown, I'd say, was when I was like, okay, I want to do this. Got some photos done, got signed by an agency, moved agencies, like that kind of thing. It's one of those things you just got to find what fits you. So I think just over 2.5 years maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in relation to kind of getting into the modelling scene and finding an agency, did you find that difficult, or for somebody who wants to get into that field, how do you go about getting signed?
So there's different ways, I say. There was 2 ways I got scouted originally on Instagram by an agency. Me being me, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I'll sign with that agency. And then I think I was like, okay, let me actually do some research on what I want. Researched some agencies I really liked. There was one in Manchester that I really liked. So I actually sent my photos to them and then they said, we want to sign you. So then I switched. So I was literally signed to the original agency like a month. But for me, that didn't feel right, that agency. So I was like, I want to do what's best for me in that sense. So then I sent photos to them, signed them. And then, because they were so far from me, I think your first agency should be quite close to you. Because a lot of stuff at first is actually, you do it for free. That's just how it kind of works. Like test shoots and things like that. So all their contacts were in Manchester. And I was like, I can't travel 5 hours on a random, you're telling me tomorrow, be in Liverpool tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. So then I moved and signed to a London agency. Wow. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of who you know as well, because the only reason I got signed to my London agency is because who I knew, word of mouth, you want to go to London? Oh, do you know what? We need someone like that kind of thing.
London, yeah. So it shows that connections are quite important, but did you see when you first started out, you had to do a lot of free stuff, and is that something you still do now, or do you know your worth? You're like, no, I'm not taking no free stuff, I'm going to get paid for my stuff now.
I think you always have to do some form of free stuff, in the sense of, when you do modelling in general, you have a book, you have a portfolio, that has to be updated. Like, I change every 3 months. I probably change something, like whether that's in size, in features, like things like that, or what I want to focus on. So as a model, you still have to get paid test shoots. You still pay for a test shoot, but that's by a photographer. That's your book update.
So you're paying out of your own funds, right?
Oh yeah, out of my own funds, but that's not very often. But you still have to update at least every 6 months. Do one like you pay, and then the rest, I'd say, your agency will sort you out with that. Like, when you're signed, you can't really do any free work.
Wow.
I can't just accept a modelling job.
Because it's like
I'm
clashing.
like not owned by my agency, but do you know what I mean? Like, I can't be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that now. Like, they have to accept that. So they take a fee, like that kind of thing.
Is there anything that in the modelling thing you've done, somebody's asked you to do something and you didn't really sit right with you and said, I don't really want to do that? Are you able to say no to things? I know when people are managed, they kind of have to, you cannot control, but you kind of have to go with what they're saying.
Yes, I did. I went to a casting once in London that my agency sent me, and it was for a lingerie shoot. And I'm fine. Like, I'm very confident in my body, and I'm very big on like showing what you have. But this one was a little bit more. It was extra sexy in a way that I don't want to show my nipples, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So like, I went to that thing. I actually got the job. My agent even said, for the money they're giving you for what you're showing, it's not good enough. Like, even they said it, but I myself was going to say no, and I'm happy to say that. Or like, I've been asked to go to a casting for a brand that is known for sex toys, but I was for the lingerie section. Does that make sense?
So it's kind of, not clash, but you're going to be known for that.
And like, and there's not. I have nothing against people who do that, and that's absolutely fine if you want to do that. But I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I'm okay to be like, I literally replied to my agent and was like, I think this isn't for me, but thank you for the opportunity, kind of thing. Like, and they're fine with that. They're not going to be like, they don't own me. Like, I have that right. So yeah, you can say no.
So when you started 2 years ago, was it Instagram was your main tool to kind of put yourself across, or was you actually hitting up all these people with your portfolio and saying, look, I want to do this, I want to do it, or they actually come and scout you from Instagram?
So there's a bit of both. Instagram does play a really big role in it. Like, especially when I've been on shoots and spoken to the social media part of it, they'll literally say, the first thing you do is check your Instagram.
It's crazy.
Which is crazy. Like, for me, the way I treat my Instagram now is my CV.
Yeah.
Like, things like, I'm not going to post something stupid like me drunk on the floor, legs spread kind of thing. Not that I do that, but like, it's not something that I'm going to do. Just because, like, I need to show my best version, but I also want to show a real version. Does that make sense? Like, I want to show funny side, funny side, no makeup side. Like, I get spots, I get this. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's days where I cry. Like, so I want to show that on my Instagram. So I think that's definitely a main thing. But also, when you are signed, it is your agent's job to also find that. That's what they you don't pay your agent.
So they source that.
So they source that stuff, but then also I also have to go and do test shoots myself. So they can recommend, like, especially when you first start, test shoots are the main thing you do. Test shoot is, you can do, there's non-paid ones and there's paid ones in the sense of you pay them, or it's like it's called TFP, where it's like, they gain like a portfolio by having photos of you, and you gain by them taking photos of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So at the start, it's a lot of free stuff. Like, I'd had a lot of trips to Manchester. My dad, bless him, drove me like 4 hours, like 4 times. So at first, yeah, you've got to like really hustle, but it's not like, here's my portfolio, hire me. It's not like that kind of thing.
Which is great, and this is why I wanted to get on today, because a lot of people that do modelling wouldn't actually necessarily know all the stuff you're saying.
Yeah.
They just think, okay, stand in front of the camera, take a picture, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah,
It's nothing like that at all. And is there any trials and tribulations you've had in relation to that, like having to travel really, really far for a shoot and stuff like? Because you did say 5 hours, but are you willing to make that kind of travel, or you think when it's that far, I'm just not going at all?
When it's an actual legit shoot, everything's paid for.
Paid for, okay. Good.
Like, your travel is paid for, your hotel, your food. Like, you won't pay anything. So, and the more you do it, the better your day rate will be, for example, if that makes sense. So my day rate when I first started is a lot different to my day rate now, or like half a day. It's not even I don't really do it for the money in that sense. Like, I actually genuinely really enjoy it. Yeah. Like, I'm a creative in general, so I do, even if I did it for free and you paid my travel, I probably would still do it if I'm honest. But the last shoot, like big shoot I did, for example, was in Harrogate, and I live south. So like, Harrogate for me is about 5.5 hours. and that's in one day. You got to travel all the way up to Harrogate, and that was when the trains had issues. Like, I was literally like on the train home, like everything was cancelled. I didn't know how to get home. It took me nearly 7 hours to get home. Like, but for me, it was worth it because like I got to meet cool people. I got really good photos done. I was on a cool website. So things like that, like, it's just part of the job. If I'm honest, like, it's tiring, but it's just part of the job.
So it's quite a competitive field, I must say, modelling, because there is so many pretty people out there, I must admit. And when you go to certain shoots with other females, do you feel that animosity with some females, or is it very challenging when you work with some people, or is it kind of quite chilled?
I think it always depends on, like, you've just got to be hard-headed yourself.
Yes.
You've got to always think, okay, yeah, I know there's pretty people. Like, I walk around and think, she's gorgeous, he's good looking. Like, if you sit and look at every single person every day, you're literally, there's no point in leaving the house. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
So it's just one of those things where it's just like, you've just got to be so strong in yourself and be like, you're chosen for a reason. So like, me being like, I'm a curve model, so like naturally, normally, when I do a shoot, I'm probably either the only curve model, or there's two of us, and there's more like classic models. So like, I can't compare what I look like to them. Like, I'm completely different. Like, my body's completely different. Like, I have different features that they have. So it's just one of those things where it's just like, just appreciate what you have and just work with it. Like, they've picked you for a reason. Go with it.
So when they make the bookings and they invite you down, they'll have a selection of different models. So would you be curvy model, classic models?
Yeah, so I think a lot of campaigns at the moment, you won't find just a classic model now, which is like a size 8, size 6. There'll always be curve. Well, at the moment, they don't even call it plus anymore. It's just curve. Anything that's like, if you've got a bum or boobs, you are classed as a curve model.
Which is funny. It's true.
It is like, especially with my agency now, if you look at some of the girls, like, I'm like, you're literally size 10. Like, to me, a size 10 is a normal person. But even a size 14 is a normal person. But then you can get up to size 22. Like, they're still classed as a curve model. Do you know what I mean? So you will get a big variety. Now there's a lot of like petite models and like extra, like tall models, so they make sure every new collection you get, like in the Style just brought out a new swimwear collection. A lot of the girls I'm friends with, and they're so different, like all of them are so different, how they look, how they present themselves, their bodies and stuff. So I just think we're in a day and age now, slowly, things are changing. Like, I can now say I'm a model without being like, people are looking at it like, oh, you're not.
Which is great, because I think that's what I was going to say. And the variation of models now is great, because before, you have to be a certain height to be a model.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they'll be like, oh, you can't do modelling because you're not that height. But now, like you said, there's curvy models, there's different sizes models. Anyone can class themselves as a model and still be respected the same way, which is great.
I mean, it's still, to this day, there's like, my downside is probably my height in general. That is a thing. Like, normally when it comes to classic model, it's not as big. When you're a plus size model or a curve model, they normally want you to be taller. So like, just depends on the brand and what they want. So a lot of the times, if they want a petite curve model, I'm the girl. Do you know what I mean? So we still have a lot to improve, in my opinion. But then I just think, lower your angle a little bit on your camera, make me look taller. Like, a lot of people do meet me and they're like, oh, you're actually shorter than we thought you were.
So in relation to that, is there any, because I know you did the curvy modelling, is there any people you inspire towards, or people like, look, I really like that person, I see them as an idol, that's the kind of path I want to go down?
Ashley Graham, okay, I was gonna say her
she
name, is like, I love her.
Yeah, I was gonna say
absolutely Ashley Graham, love her. I just think her way of being is just like, I don't know, she's not just a model. She's not known as a model. She's known as like a talker, like she can talk. She inspires, ambassador. Like, she is like probably one of the first main curvy models there were. Like, she got scouted when she was like 12 or something. Like, she was really young. Wow. And like, now even like her being a mother, or like little things like on her Instagram, she shows her breastfeeding. And that sounds stupid, but like, there's things like that where like, you're just like, that's just normal. Like,
and this is the main reason why we've done this podcast, because there's certain things that people don't know, and there's certain things you say today that people can relate to and also see it's also normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like I said, Ashley Graham breastfeeding a child is normal.
Yeah.
And you never think someone of her caliber will do that on her Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is good. And going back to the modelling as well, do you think Instagram is one of the best tools to use? Or is TikTok, I know a lot of people are using TikTok now, do you think TikTok can get you in the same sort of light? Or?
Yeah, I think TikTok is taken over the world slowly. One of those things. 100%. I do think the first thing people will look at is your Instagram, just because when it comes to modelling and you start doing, you've got to really learn how to pose, and it's to do with the actual shot of the picture, if that makes sense. So like, the one thing they always say when you first start is literally sit in your room and just take photos of yourself. Like, that's just the main thing. Or sit in the mirror and look at your best angles. You're the only person that will know your best angles. You know what looks good on you. Like, they say, I've heard this from Kim Kardashian, which I've kept my whole time. Whenever I'm at a shoot, I love to have a mirror in front of me, because then I can see, like, how I'm standing, like, my posture, like, that kind of stuff. And I've always kept that. But, like, even when you do a shoot, like, when the photographer takes it, there's normally, like, a Mac on the side, and it shows all the shots. Like, I like that to have turned towards all of us. Then you can see... You can adjust yourself. You know how to fix yourself. Yeah. So I think when it comes to Instagram, you can show your best sides. You can show what you look like. You can show you composed. You can show what you look like full length. But I do think TikTok has taken over, because a lot of things to do with modelling isn't just a photo. It's like there'll be a videographer there. They'll always take... You've got to act. It's a performance. There's something about it's performing. Like, you've got to, like... really put on a character. Like, I was doing a bridal shoot, like, I had to be a bride, I couldn't be sad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, yeah.
So would you do that going forward, or would you do it already, like, kind of sort of vlogging to get people to know a little bit more about your personality? And
I was literally, me and my best friend were saying this, like, I feel like I want to show more, like, because I can talk for the world, and you'll get this, like, on this podcast. I literally, if you get me, I won't stop talking. Yeah. So, like, I just feel like I want to start doing little vlogs. I did start a little YouTube when I was in lockdown. I feel like everyone in my friendship group decided to do YouTube during lockdown, but it's one of those things you just gotta, like, start and keep doing, like, really
consistency
consistent.
is difficult.
Yeah, like, even if you're getting no views, go. Like, my one... I have a friend I went to uni with when we first started, and she barely got any views at uni and stuff, but she kept going and going and going. Now like, and now she does it full time. She's a massive influencer. Like, shout out to Liv Blackwell. But like, she's a massive influencer now. Like, and I'm just like, you did not stop. You kept going and you kept going and you kept going, and it paid off. Like, fair play.
And I think this is why I said about the vlogging, because I think sometimes when you do the modelling, you just see somebody in a picture, you don't know. It's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Because you know nothing about that person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of models are like that. And when you mention Kim Kardashian, because she's got a reality program, you get to know a bit more about her.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of models now, it's blank canvas, see a picture, see someone's pretty, and that's all you know.
Yeah.
There's no personality behind it or stuff like that. So that, like you said, that's something I think would be great for you to do, and you said you was going to do it already.
Yeah,
so.
I really want to start it. Just like start doing that kind of stuff, and even just like showing more of my personality, like on Instagram, whether it's just talking on my stories, which I don't do a lot, and that's something that you've got to overcome, I think. So yeah, definitely.
So before shoots, because I know in a lot of fields people kind of experience that sort of feeling, but do you get anxious or feel nervous before shoots or anything like that? Or is there anything you've gone to and you feel like, you know what, I can feel the butterflies in my stomach? Is there anything you've had?
I get excited, like, I really love it. I guess the only time I get a bit anxious is when, like, it depends on the company. Some people really brief you and some people don't tell you anything. Like, I did a shoot once for a brand that I got told nothing. Like, I literally travelled to Manchester and they just said, turn up here. You'll be shooting at this time to this time. I shaved my legs. I did all that. I was shooting coats. Do you know what I mean? I was shooting coats and I was wearing really, really big jeans. My legs weren't even showing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I made sure... I was like, do you reckon my toes are going to be out? Like, don't you get my toes done? I got told nothing. But then there's other shoots. I've worked with a brand called Tala, and they literally will step by step tell you what time, what outfit you're going to wear, and they'll show you like a little thing. So I think it's to do with the preparation of it as well, but in general, I trust myself. So I trust that, like, whatever happens, I will make sure I deliver. Whether I can or can't, I'll find a way. Like, and I'm okay to be like, can I have some help with this?
Or improvise if you need to.
Yeah, 100%. And I do feel like that comes from the musical theatre background and training. In that sense, it's very like on the spot, just do it. Like, do this character. Do you know what I mean?
So musical theatre background, I want to touch on that now because
okay.
I can see it coming out a little bit. So
yeah, I know.
the musical theatre background, so when did you start that, and how long have you been doing that before modelling and stuff like that?
So I started dancing when I was 3.5.
So it's like Brit School, or is that, am I going?
No.
So musical theatre is more
same
like
thing.
pantomime.
No, sorry, yeah, Brit School, yeah. That is,
okay,
I thought you meant if I went to Brit School. No.
Yeah.
Brit School is musical theatre, yeah. So I started dancing when I was 3.5, danced my whole life, and then when I was at school and stuff, I always just performed and sang, like, sing in front of your parents, blah, blah. And then when I got to school, I was like, oh, I can hold a tune, like I can sing. One of my singing teachers was like, you should go for, it's like the Music Youth Project, they call it. And I auditioned for that, did that. And then slowly I was like, oh, I really enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. And then I went to Chichester Conservatoire and studied that at uni, whilst still doing dance, doing singing lessons and that kind of stuff. So it's always been something that I knew from the start I wanted to perform, like from birth, let's say. Like whether that is modelling, I still class it as performance. I still class it as some form of performance. Yeah. So I think my whole life I've done it.
So you sing, you got vocals on you.
Yeah.
So have you recorded any sort of music or anything like that, or is it something?
I was never one to be. I was always a stage performer.
Okay.
So from the start, and that's like I was kind of classically trained in that sense. With my teacher, we tried to do a bit of classical stuff, a bit of musical theatre stuff, a bit of pop stuff, and only recently actually I've started recording some bits, but more on like, not sampling, but like being featured in people's songs. Okay. Like I have friends that do like either rappers or singers, so. Slowly, in the last like 5 months or something, I've actually started to go to recording studios and featured. And it's one of those things I'm like, maybe I should try this.
Like an album from Maria soon, yeah?
I don't know album, you know what I mean? Wait like 10 years later. But like slowly, like start, like even how a song is put together, I never knew that. Or even how it works in a recording studio. Like I never knew how to mix and master a song. Do you know what I mean? And even going and just watching, not even singing, like I feel like I've learned a lot. So yeah, maybe.
So going back to your background, a little bit, Greek background. So how do they see modelling, and is your parents quite supportive and family supportive with that as well?
I'm really lucky I have the most supportive parents. They are not to do with the creative industry at all. My mum loved it as younger, if she could, but she had a very strict dad, so she always didn't turn to that side. But my grandma's an artist, and my auntie from my dad's side is an artist. So the creative side, in the sense of it being accepting arts, we're very loving of the arts. Greece in general isn't there fully. I'm not saying they don't, like they have a great art system, they have a dance system and that stuff, but when I was like, I'm studying musical theatre, they're like, oh, you're gonna be poor, you're not a doctor. Do you know what I mean? Like so I think until they see the evidence, even like payment, like they're like, oh, okay, that's actually a legit thing, like you can do that as a career. But unless they see it physically in front of them, it's not the first thing that they'll be like, well done. I
think I see that in a lot of the creative fields, because parents straight away don't see the money, don't see the evidence.
Until they see it,
It's quite, not, I can't say it's bad because they're being parents and they're being family and want to support you, but sometimes if you've got a passion for something, it takes time.
Yeah, 100%.
As long as you're happy. That's the main thing. As long as you're happy, I think the support will come anyway.
My parents, they're very supportive, and they're the ones that like, even now when I do the modelling stuff, they're like, you don't sing as much. Like they're very like that, so I'm very lucky to have that. But just as a whole, as a country, it's not that, like you're not going to go study dance in Greece.
So what, they want you to sing? Your parents?
My parents love. No, they think I'm a good. They love my singing. So they're like,
we need the album. That's the same. Everyone's calling for the album. Who said it? Your
Everyone's saying it, isn't it? It's just me trying to realise it. Maybe one day, maybe. But like, yeah, they're very supportive. I'm very lucky.
So in terms of your highlights, because obviously I'd like to know what you've done and what was one of your main highlights. Is there anything you can say, look, I really love that shoot and that's one of the best things I've done so far? Is there any highlights you have?
Yeah, so I did, I don't know if you guys want to know, but it's called Asher and Me. It's like a jewellery brand. For me...
We'll check it out. I'm not just...
Check it out, check it out. For me, when I got like a message from my agent being like, can you send a picture of your ear? That's what they said. Wow. Both ears. Because it's a jewellery brand. And I was like, cool. Send a picture of my ears, send a picture, like a casting video really quickly. Like, it was there. You have to do it straight away. Modelling is very last minute. It's like, you've got a casting tomorrow. Your shoot is next week. Do you know what I mean? Which is very hard to balance with having a job kind of thing. But you've got...
nervous.
Yeah, I know. You got to be on edge. So then I got the job. And for me, that's a big thing because I used to work in London in Selfridges and that brand was next to me.
Yep.
So I knew the brand and I always used to be like, oh my God, I love their jewellery and stuff. So then to be like, I'm modelling for that brand.
That's sick, yeah.
And it wasn't just like I'm modelling for a shoot, like I'm modelling for their new summer campaign. So I went to, it was in Canberra Sands. It was on a beautiful beach, heat wave, did a shoot. I was the only model there. So for me, I was like, this is big, like, this is cool. Did the shoot, all was cool. They posted it on Instagram when it came out. They posted it on the website. Didn't think anything of it. I had a friend call me and be like, open your video, like video camera, and there's me in a picture in London. And I was like, no way. Wow. Like, that's me in a window thing.
So they wouldn't tell you that?
I didn't know. Okay, normally when it comes to stuff like that, you know by the money you get.
Yeah.
The publicity of it is to do with the money. But I didn't. I just thought it was a big brand. So I thought, okay, cool. Even being on the website is big. And then I saw it there and I was like, oh my God. And then there's like 8 or 9 stores in London that they've got. Then they've got stores in New York. They've got stores in Paris. They've got stores like...
Put it all there.
And I was like... And my friend was like, my brother's girlfriend lives in New York and she saw you in the shop in New York. And I was like, what the hell? Like, and then me and my best friend went and checked it out in Brighton. There was a billboard. Like, I've never experienced that. So to me, I'd say that's like my biggest.
Must be rewarding to know that, yeah.
That's my moment. And I was like, what? Like, I literally went to the store and this boy was like, can I have a picture of you? Wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, me? Like, so that would probably be my highlight.
So when you said, they just ask for a picture of your ear, does that happen in modelling? They just say, I want a picture of your nose, or I want a picture of your lips, or can that happen?
It just depends.
On the brand you're doing, yeah.
It just depends what you're showing off in the shoot. So the reason they wanted my ears was more for what piercings I have.
Yeah, okay.
To see, like, I could have some ugly ears, which is cool. Like, if that's the vibe they want to go for, do it.
Yeah.
But I think they just wanted to see, like, what my ear shape's like, will it fit the jewellery they want to go for. And then the rest is, a lot of it's actually with personality. Like, one of my casting videos, like, say 3 things about yourself. So it's not, like, you could be the prettiest person. If your
personality stinks.
If your personality stinks and they never want to work with you, they're not going to hire you. Yeah. They literally won't. So I always say, always be nice, because you'll never know when you'll next see that person.
So is there any brand you really want to work with? Because I know a lot of people, what's Rihanna's brand? Is it Fenty?
Fenty,
I see a lot of people doing that.
Savage Fenty.
Yeah, Savage Fenty. So is there any brands you really would like to work with? Or you've tried to reach out and they haven't replied to you yet, and you're thinking, no, I'm going to get you soon.
One day, I even think
they reply and they don't say nothing, and you get to work with them in the future.
Yeah.
Is there any brands who's like that?
I would say, obviously, Savage Fenty is really like Skims would be like the top like thing. But even little things that I'd love to do PLT. Just like, which is like for some models, that's their daily thing. Like, I'm still starting off in the sense of like, compared to other people, what they do. Sometimes this is a full-time thing, some people's a part-time thing, some is like I have a part-time job on the side and do it. So, at the moment, I take anything when it comes to like representing myself, because I never had that growing up. So if I'm able to represent a curvier girl, then I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? But top brands like Skims, oh my god, I'd love to see Skims, or like Savage Fenty, 100%. Even because the Savage Fenty show is like dance. It's choreographed by Paris Goebel, who's like an insane choreographer, again another idol. So that's like something that links it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
So in the future, would you like to get into that yourself and create your own brands and stuff like that? Obviously, I'm thinking far-fetched, but
I will never limit myself.
Yeah, that's good.
100%. Like, if I can, if I have the opportunity, like, I don't want to... That's why I say, like, when they say, what are you? Like, I say a creative, because, like, you can do a lot more, like, in this... I like doing hair and stuff, like, one of my other jobs is, like, I'm a hairstylist, and I do makeup on the side, so I've linked that with a shoot before. Like, I've done a shoot and then hairstyled, but modelled.
Wow.
Which was
hairstyled somebody else?
I hairstyled all the models plus myself.
They must have thought, like, this is like...
And then I modelled. Yeah. and that's cool. Yeah, like, I was like, sick. Why not, like, link it? So that's what I'm saying, like, dance and modelling, why not link that? So even, like, creating, like, if I'm going to model, why not model my clothes? Or why not model something else? Like, I'm never going to say no.
But I see a lot of people do that. They will get booked for something. Like, you have a creative person that's good at one thing, but they've got other layers to them.
Yeah.
But they just forget about that.
Yeah.
And they'll go somewhere, I'm a footballer, all I do is football. But that person could sing, that person could rap. And this is what I was saying to yourself, is like, you've got the singing background, you've got the dance background, and obviously you put the hairstyling in as well. Yeah. But sometimes people want to see the whole package.
The whole thing, yeah.
And your mum said the album, he said the album, I'm sure your friend in the background said the album. I said the album.
She's like,
so we want to see that. Let's say the next year or so, we want to hear your music, see your modelling and more stuff and more layers to yourself, because I think we're in a day and age now where there's so much talented people, but you need to stand out from the rest.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And I think with the other things you've got behind you, it will make you stand out 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying my best.
Yeah. So your sister, does she? What does she say about your modelling? Is she in the creative world herself?
Yeah.
Or?
So she's studying musical theatre as well.
Okay.
She's also like an artist, so she's incredibly talented in that sense. She does really support my modelling because a lot of her friends are like, oh my god, that was your sister. Like, and I think that's cool in that
Do you look alike?
We do. We actually do look alike, yeah. A lot of people we're also very different. Like, if you sit and actually look at our faces, we're very different, but also very similar.
Resemblance, yeah.
So, yeah, she's really supportive. She's cool, and she'll give me advice. She'll be like, Maria, that's awful. Like, if that's awful, she'll tell me. She'll put it straight. I think if I ever needed... When I need someone to put it straight with me, I will go straight to my sister because she won't be scared to be like, you look awful, like, do not ever post that. That is ugly.
But friends might not say that.
No, that's
what I'm saying, yeah.
I feel like, she'll just say it straight. And I know I'll go straight to her if I need it.
Which is true. I think a lot of people, it's either your mum or your sisters.
My mum's very straight with me, to be fair.
Okay, that's good.
My mum is very like, Maria, you don't want to post that.
But you need stuff like that, especially in the modern world.
Yeah.
Some people, you look beautiful. Girls have that sometimes, go out party, you look beautiful. But they know doesn't really look that
yeah.
Is
it, do I look beautiful or is it those two vodkas you just had?
Lovely.
Yeah.
But they don't really want to tell
it's like when you go to
100%.
You've never experienced the girls' bathroom when everyone's drunk. And
I've seen it in a club, but I haven't experienced
it. No.
I've seen like about 10 of them going there, but I guess you have a conversation over how you look and stuff like that. But I know that one. Yeah. So yeah, Maria. In terms of the curvy modelling, was there any trials and tribulations you've had in the curvy modelling side? So I know it's fairly quite new, like you said.
It is,
and it's quite a difficult field because some people are a bit funny with stuff like that. Even though we're embracing it more, some people are still a bit funny. Is there any trial and tribulations you've had with that?
I've not personally experienced it. Like, if anything, I felt more empowered doing it, and I've had people in shoots like I've never made to feel uncomfortable. Even little things like, when I was on a shoot once and they wore an outfit and they didn't really think about the fact that I have to wear a bra. Like, when you've got boobs, you've got to wear a bra. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to, but for me, I want to wear a bra. So, like, they were very supportive in that sense. Okay, let's figure something out. Let's add something here so then it hides the strap. Like, so as a curvier girl, I just feel like so far it's been a plus in that sense. I've not felt any like, oh, you've got rolls.
Yeah.
If anything, like, I'll get hired for my rolls. Do you know what I
mean? No, I know what you mean, but that's empowerment as well.
Yeah.
So when you go to shoots, they've always got somebody that can adjust and help.
Yeah, like, they're people. You just have a conversation with them. Like, if I was, like, rude, then maybe they don't want to help. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just have a conversation. Like, do you know what? I actually don't feel very comfortable doing this. Like, can we change it? And do you know, like, it's just conversation. That's what I'm going to say. Just talk to them. So
the photographers, in terms of photographers, is there any top photographers you've worked with and you feel like that is one of the best photographers I've worked with? Because I know the photos, it's whoever's taking the photos depends on how you look.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
Is there any photographers you feel like that's one of the best photographers, or any photographers you would like to work with in the future?
There's not like in particular, just because I feel like each brand has their specific photographer.
For what they're doing.
So then they know what they want. So I guess it's more of like the brand as a whole. Like, a lot of, so like, there's actually some curvy photographers who love photographing curvy girls. So I don't have any in particular where I'm like, I really want to work with you. There's just so many. Like, I just worked with a photographer in Manchester. My last like test shoot was with Logan, and she, like, the way she did her shoot was so nice. She even had her dog on set, like, and we were just like chilling, and she was just very like open to like, you do what you want and we'll work around it and stuff. So I think it depends on the brand you work with, because every brand has a different photographer. Like, when I did the Asher and Me shoot, they have their set photographer, so she knows exactly what she needs to do, and they help you in that way. They place you how you need, and then again, it's a conversation. If you're like, do you know what, let me do like this, they'll take what you say, they'll listen to you. It's not like, do this. Yeah. So
is there any unusual places you've kind of been stopped by somebody for modelling? Because I know a lot of people have walked in West End in the past, say, oh, that person stopped me and I've become a modelling shoot for them. Is there any place you've gone and you've kind of been scouted or stopped for anything like that?
I've not been scouted, but like, once I went out on a night out near my town, like where I live, and this guy was like, I know who you are. She's like, I've seen you on like this brand and stuff. that I've not really had it a lot, but that's like one of the only times. Or even when me and my best friend went to Brighton and was like in front of the billboard thing, people on the bus opposite were like, that's her. So like think that, but like I've not had anyone like sign my autograph. No, I'm not like that. Do you know what I mean?
So how does it make you feel when you see yourself like on billboards and stuff like that? Because that's a big moment. How does it actually make you feel in yourself when you actually see your hard work's paid off and you're actually
weird, really weird, but like
pinch me moment.
Yeah, it's like that's me, like that's crazy. But then it also makes me like really push myself and be like, okay, that's one billboard, that's one bit there. What's the next one? So like I have this thing where like I really want to one day be on Piccadilly, you know, the big billboard and stuff. And I've taken a picture in front of it myself and been like, I will be on there one day. I don't know how long it will take. Like, so it's just like, okay, you've achieved that. What's the next thing?
One thing I must say, we've had a lot of guests on this podcast and everyone has their affirmations.
Yeah.
Every single everybody that spoke in this podcast all said, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm all holding everybody to it because I want to see you there.
Yeah, I'm literally screenshotting.
Stand there with you. I've said that, but everyone's had their affirmations and it's really nice to see because everyone's been positive and they know their worth. Do you know what I mean? You haven't limited yourself at all. You know where you want to be in the future.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. And you've got a great support system with you as well to do that. So in relation to your town and where you're from, is there a lot of people that are into modelling there, or is it more?
Yes and no. I think slowly it's evolving. But I think, people are very interested. We've got a university nearby which is very creative. They do photography, they do media, makeup, hair, which we're quite lucky about. So a lot of people actually even from London will come down and study there, but we're not far from London, so a lot of people will just go there, if I'm honest.
So do you find London quite fast paced, or are you happy with the living of London, especially in the field?
I love London.
Okay.
Yeah, I did used to live here for a little bit before COVID, and that was my dream, was always move to London. So when I finished uni, I moved to London straight away.
So would you come back to London to live again?
I think so, yeah. It just depends on like job wise, what I've got, is it worth it? At the moment it's actually more worth it just to travel up and pay travel than live and pay in London.
So is there more opportunities in London for modelling, or is it just very west?
London and Manchester.
Oh, Manchester as well.
Yeah, Manchester's really big, I think, for modelling, and people don't realise that. Even like brands, a lot of brands, like the headquarters of PLT is in Manchester. So yeah, those two I'd say. And they're not far from each other. It's just when you're so south, Manchester feels far, but if you live in London, Manchester's not that far.
That's where he's from.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know?
That's where I'm living right now.
Yeah.
So he knows a lot of Manchester. So, is there any other areas that you know of that kind of heavily involved in the modelling side, other than London and Manchester? A place you've been to and you've seen a lot of modelling and the community is quite strong? It
depends on what it is. Like Harrogate, for example, is really big on bridal modelling.
Bridal, okay. So
like the bridal fashion week, I did it in the summer. That was like, there's loads of models there, and every single massive bridal designer and stuff will be there. So I just think it depends on where the headquarters are.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd say the two main cities are just always the main thing, and then it just depends where people have like warehouses and stuff like that.
So the modelling community, are they quite close-knit and they're very supportive? Because I know in some fields, some people are not really close and they don't really support each other. But for your community of modelling, do you kind of stick together? Do you have like a little community where you can ask for advice and help?
Do you know what? Yes and no, in the sense of like, I think since being in it, you realise it's actually a very close community. Like in the sense of when I said like, every new campaign that comes out, I know at least one of the two people. I'm not saying we're besties. I'm saying I've got some form of, they're an acquaintance. I've either worked with them before or I've got them on Instagram. We've been to an event before together. Like, it's very close-knit. Like, so I think once you're in it, you realise it's kind of the same people. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, it has pros and cons.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Like, is it the same, or it's just literally like, there's actually not that many. And because there's main agencies... and a lot of people want to work with an agency just because it's very legit stuff. Sometimes if you do freelance, I'm not saying that's bad, with freelance people can take advantage a little bit. So at least with your agency it's very like, this is your cut, your travel will be paid for, if you're there's like a whole contract with it. So Instagram again, I think I'd say is the main form of communicating between models. Like even like when I first got signed, just contacted one of the models and was like asking for some advice or something. Or then I wanted to work with the photographer and I messaged someone else and was like, what was your experience? And they're very open and like helpful with it and stuff.
So when you say freelance, sometimes it's not legit. When you say like what the payments or
it's sometimes to do with payments. Like there's pros and cons to freelance. You can accept a lot more jobs without having to go through someone and not having to give them a cut. So
skip the middleman, basically.
Yeah. And I went freelance a little bit between my 2 agencies, which is cool. But then I also did like 2 or 3 unpaid jobs.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like I did it because the brand was big, and I wanted to do that. But at the same time, if you're big, why can't you pay me? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm at the stage now where like I'm not just doing this for free, but at the same time, I am gaining. So, but then it's things like I don't know. Say they cancel last minute. You can't do anything about it. When if they cancel last minute and you're with an agent, they still have to pay you. It's little things like that, or like I don't know, travel and things like that. Just depends on the brand, or the money could be your day rate could be bigger with an agency.
So the agency or management with now, how many management have you been with before the one you're with now? Have you been with?
I've been with 2, but one of them was only for like a month. So I wouldn't really class it. I didn't do any jobs with them.
Okay, just with them, yeah.
So I was with one big agency before for about 2 years. Yeah, a year and a half. And then I've just been just over a year with this agency here.
So they contact you quite regularly. As soon as they've got something, boom, you're coming.
Yeah, they'll message you and be like, there's different forms of emails. It'll be like, I'm making a brief. Like the last one I did was, the last brief I got was like, if you're a fan of football and you really enjoy football and you want to model football, let me know now. I'm making a brief.
Okay.
You reply if you're a fan of football, but I'm not. I don't know if they're gonna ask me about who your favorite player is. I'm like, David Beckham. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So no, not that. But then there's another brief like, there's a shoot. This brand wants to work with you. Are you available these dates? Keep them in your diary. That doesn't mean you've got the job. That could just be like, save those dates. You're an option.
Okay.
And then they'll let you know if you did. Or it could be literally be like, can you send a video of this? There's a casting. Or it'll be like, there's a casting tomorrow. Can you go to the casting? Or the last one, the best one would be like, you've been booked for this job. Please tell me you're available, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. So it's quite lastminute.com, like you said.
Very.
Last minute. So just a quick one as well. I want to get your sort of advice from somebody who was maybe experiencing the same things you were experiencing and wanted to get into your field. So a young girl who was coming up who not quite confident in her looks, but she is a curvier woman and wants to go down your route. What would you kind of do to kind of help her build that confidence and get into the field you're in?
My big thing is you need to have self-love. You need to really love yourself. Not in a cocky way, but just be so like confident with what you're doing. Do it and do it. Don't just half-heartedly do it. So if you start doing that, whether it's just like, say you walk into a room, walk into a room with a purpose.
Yep.
You don't want to. You want to be remembered. Like even walking down the street. So if you start thinking like that, you'll start to be able to like see people in that way, and they'll be able to see you in that way. So then slowly you have that. I don't know. What's the word? I'm thinking of a word right now. What's the word I'm thinking of? Confidence. You'll have that confidence to be like, these are my photos. Can you sign me? Or even pose. The way you pose is different when you have that self-love and confidence and you know yourself.
You can see it, yeah.
So you can really see that. So I just say the first thing to do is literally work on yourself. Know who you are, know what you like, know what you don't like, and go from there. And then the more experiences you have, you realise more things like, oh, I don't like that thing. I like people like that. I don't like people like that. So then start taking photos of yourself, knowing what you like, poses, and then start approaching people from there. Okay, don't go half-heartedly. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I think if you don't love yourself, you can't expect other people to love the pictures you're taking.
No, yeah, it really does show. Like, a camera shows a lot. So I just think self-confidence. Believe why you're doing it.
Excellent.
And do it for the right reasons.
Excellent. So Maria, fashion. Would you like to get into fashion? Any form of fashion? Because I know that works hand in hand with modelling a little bit. Is that something you'd like to get into?
Yes, I think even when you're modelling, that is fashion. Yep. In that sense, like the main thing, I'm not modelling. Like I'm not showing myself. You have to model what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So I think people forget that they'll model just because it's just like I look pretty and that's a cool photo. You're actually really showing off something in that sense. Yeah, I'd like to, because I have a lot of ideas, and I wouldn't say I've got one specific fashion sense. One day I could be like smart with a blazer, and the next be like in joggers kind of thing. So it's not something that I've like done, I want to do that, but it's not something that I'm stopping myself from doing.
Excellent.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Maria, I think we've wrapped up quite a lot of information today. And
No.
and I think all the gems we've dropped today will be very productive, and it's been a pleasure to have you today as well.
Thank you
because
so much for having me.
it's the insight we kind of needed. And yeah, it was just great having you today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Excellent, and thank you for coming. And
Thank you.
that was Unspoken Gems podcast. That was Maria. Thank you, and we're out.
Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Woo.